Welcome to Eagle Means Business. This is our television show where we talk to members of our community who are doing business in our communities, get to know them, their businesses, and kind of what's going on in some of our towns. Today we're filming on site, and I must say this is probably the most comfortable set that we've done a show on. We're here in Ginger's Uptown in downtown Clay Center, and our guest today is Ginger Walker.
Hi, James.
It's good to see you, Ginger.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
this will be a fun thing to discuss with people.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to discuss.
Yes,
in Clay Center,
I think
isn't there?
yeah, there is. There's a lot going on right now.
I'm sure we'll just touch a little bit of nugget, and maybe somebody out there has some more things they'd like to talk about later. But today we're going to visit a little bit about Ginger. Let's just kind of start off. I mean, we've got a number of topics, but let's just kind of start off on getting our viewers familiar with Ginger's Uptown and how you came to do business here.
Okay. Well, in 1986, I had the opportunity to purchase a shoe store. Just something that randomly came up. We had been married about 6 years. We had a 1-year-old baby. We really had no business probably going into business, but it was a dream I always had. I worked in this store that we're sitting in now. I worked for him for 10 years through high school and college, and I loved retail. I loved what I did. And branching out on my own was something that I was very excited about. So we didn't have a whole lot of money to put down back in the day, but we kind of scrounged up enough that a banker said, oh yeah, I think we can do that. And so we began as Gingers. So that was, like I said, in 1986, and here we are today. So we started in the building next door and had that until I purchased this building in 1993. The guy that I worked for decided to retire, and I had told him I wanted to be the first one to be able to purchase this. And so he did, and I did, and then we eventually moved everything over here. So we've been in this building 26 years.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. It's not everyone who, as a young person, has that passion that they can then stick it out and follow in their hometown. So that's really, I think, an inspirational type of story, because so many times they leave and they may get an inkling to come back, but to carve your own niche here from a young age is it's very admirable.
You know, I knew what I wanted from the beginning, but it's like everything, and I think that's one thing I want to stress to young entrepreneurs. It doesn't happen right now. I knew what I wanted, I knew where I wanted to get, and I knew what it took to get there. You just can't do it all at once. Yep. So I started with the shoes. We got pretty heavy. We started when Nike and Reebok were just becoming big, and that helped us a lot to be able to build a good foundation. And then when this came available and I really wanted to, you know, eventually do all of the apparel and home decor, it just fit. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you come in here and you got a wonderful selection of items. And I always come in here and want to leave with something, or I know I'm not going to bring Sabrina in here because Sabrina will leave with a lot of things.
That's right.
But to come here, you wouldn't know that this started as a shoe store.
No, you would not.
Do you have any shoes now?
We have a few. Our Brighton accessory department, we carry a few of their shoes, but that is it. Like I said in the beginning, that wasn't my passion. That was a place I could start. Yeah. And again, I emphasize, sometimes we start not where we want to be, but where we need to be in order to get where we want to be. So that is, that's how it began. So 32, almost 33 years. Yeah. I will be here in May, 33 years. So. Yeah. Well,
you're kind of bucking what people think is a trend, that downtown retail is dead. And you see those ones that are successful, and there are successful entrepreneurs out there that have run retail, and it's as much the person than it is the product, because your passion and your hard work and your love of what you do comes out, and not everybody has that. They may have a dream, but they just don't have the wherewithal to see it through, that's really really amazing. So it can be done. It can be done. We do see it. I know there's obviously pressures from the online shopping of the world, but what do you do to try to kind of freshen things up and keep it interesting?
The big thing, honestly, James, is being on top of everything. You need to the status quo is never good enough. Change is imminent. It's going to happen. It will happen. When I first started the store, the shoe store, the Manhattan Mall wasn't even in. There wasn't one. And when it started to come in, oh, everybody was upset and very concerned. What are we going to do? How are we going to handle that? And I remember going to a seminar, and I will never forget these words from this gentleman. And I don't remember his name, but I remember the words. And what he said was, you can never be all things to all people. The moment you try, you will fail. And you know, at that point in time, I'm in my 20s, I'm not going to fail, you know, you have the world by the tail, you're not, but you do have to live by that, because you can't be all things to all people, and you have to carve out your niche, you have to do what you do best.
Right.
We've had our online presence now for going into 6 years. We began slowly, and we have a nice online store right now that my daughter works hard on. Do we have the business on it that a Bed Bath & Beyond or a Target or whatever it had? No, absolutely not. That's not our intent. Our intent is to be able to show people what we have, but we want people to come in our store. We want to pamper them. We want to have them enjoy what is here at Ginger's, and our service and our selection and things that you just can't get online. So.
Yeah, do you think as a society we're kind of losing that personal touch in a lot of ways? And I've noticed it even with email. You know, I send emails and they never get responded to. And I know, you know, at home what I do with my personal is I do delete just, you know, randomly. So we're becoming increasingly an impersonal community. But when people do get that personal touch, it makes it even just that much more of an experience. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
It means everything. It means everything. And that's the thing about towns like Clay Center, our downtown, and our business groups that we work hard with. It is all about the personal touch. We can't be all things to all people. We can't have that online presence like those big stores do. But you can have something pretty special.
But you can offer it and supplement, and it is a good way to do
it. It is very good. So.
Well, and I know a lot of the small town retailers, they do realize that they need some online sales presence.
We definitely do. We have a big bridal registry department. We do, especially with our kitchen that we just started 4 years ago. And with those brides, they want their guests to be able to go, click on their name, click on the registry and pull it up. That's vital, that's important. And yes, that is a big area for us. So when we began the online presence, that's one of the things that we had very much in mind to do. So yes, an online presence is important, whether it's just a website or whether it's a shopping site like we have, it's important to have one. Sure,
absolutely, absolutely. Well, now that we've got to know Ginger's Uptown a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that are going on in Clay Center. And one that you're intimately involved in is the Clay Center Business Association. So tell us a little bit how that come about, what their mission is, and how that's working for you.
Well, we had talked for many years about having an organization that was strictly advertising. You know, you get into the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development, and we have very strong ones, we have very good ones. We have great directors of both of those in Clay Center. But we were lacking a presence of collective advertising. We needed to have something that was a collaborative effort between all of us. You can't do, and this is nothing against any of the advertising agencies or anything, but we can't run the television campaign that we did with Eagle or with Twin Valley or whoever the case may be. We can't do that on our own. Right. But as a group of 23, we can do a lot. So we got a group together, and kind of the core founders that Scott Patterson, Renee Langvart, myself, Todd Slagle, we worked very hard in the very beginning at trying to get a group together. I think we started with 9, I believe, and now we have 23. It has been amazing, and it's 100% advertising. That's what we do, 100% advertising. We don't do any donations to this or that or the next thing. You know, that's not what we're about. It's 100% advertising. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, and keeping that focus is, it tends to be a challenge. Because
it's a challenge.
As soon as you're an organization with a name, you're making a name for yourself. all of a
Right.
sudden, once again, you can't be all things to all people.
Right.
And so,
Right.
so you got to, and hopefully as leadership changes in that organization, and everything, you keep that good, strong focus.
Yes, we hope
because the key is, use those resources wisely to advertise your business.
Yes.
And businesses.
That's what you need to do. And
yeah.
When we talk about Ginger's Uptown, my family is extremely involved in my business. My daughter works here a lot of the time, and my son and daughter-in-law are very active. They go to markets, they do things without me. I mean, that's how strong it is. But I've taught them to be that way. I've hoped that they would be that way, and that's how I feel with CCBA.
Yeah.
We hope that whoever takes the leadership to the next level understands the groundwork involved in what we tried to build, and it's been great. Are we successful in everything we do? Absolutely not. You will never be.
No.
You're going to have things that don't. Does every promotion and every event work for every single business? No, it does not. We just hope that everybody finds a way to make a few of them work for them.
Yep.
And we're getting your name out there. We're doing a lot of advertising, and that's a very important thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, getting your name out there can never be a bad thing.
No.
In business.
It cannot.
That's
That's probably the best thing to do.
Sometimes bad publicity is good publicity, depending on
Right.
who you are. Not if you're, in a restaurant getting a health citation, that's not
No.
necessarily good. But,
No.
but for most businesses, and getting your brand, your face, your person, and that's very important in small towns. It's as much about the person as is the brand.
Exactly.
And so the CCBA is doing a great job.
We are. Thank you.
that.
I feel like we are. We began this in 2013, so we're in 6 years. We're doing great with that. We started Third Thursdays 4 years ago.
About that. With the chocolate crawls
coming up. That's a big thing. Third Thursdays started 4 years ago. My daughter Josie and Danny Crimmins, Lehman now, who has Studio D, they worked very hard in getting that going, and they still work very hard in keeping it going. They're two very young, vivacious girls who are working hard at that. The Third Thursdays, you hear of First Fridays down on the West Bottoms and things like that. Well, this is something that we can do in Clay Center. We do it from 4 to 7 o'clock at night, the third Thursday of every month. And yes, are some months a little rough? Absolutely. January was pretty rough. That's just how it is. February is great. That's our chocolate crawl. March, we usually do some sort of a St. Patrick's thing. We have food on the square. We have entertainment a lot of times. May is a really fun one we do. We call Light It Up Blue. And we had all of our law enforcement, fire department, EMS, everything out on the square. We had a great time. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, your last September, October, November, December are naturally very, very good. So,
fall festival time.
Yes,
and
that is
Christmas
fun.
and,
So we have enjoyed the Third Thursdays. Anybody who hasn't been down to them, you should. Like I said, not everyone is great, but we always try to do something every third Thursday. So.
Yeah, and as this is being filmed, it's coming up. So what are the dates again for
Okay, February 21st is the chocolate crawl. And you buy a $3 ticket, and all of the donation of the $3 goes to our zoo, to improve our zoo. And we've done that since the beginning because that's a very vital part of our community. Everybody loves the zoo, so they're undergoing a big renovation. So when you buy your ticket, the money doesn't go to us, it goes straight to the zoo. Again, we're an advertising entity, so we don't take money or anything like that. What we do is we will give it back. So that's what you get, and then you can go around. Last year there was 9 businesses. This year we have 13 involved in the chocolate crawl. So it's a lot of fun. You take your ticket, you go around all the stores and sample all the chocolates. There's some pretty good stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Really good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, so doing, and we've kind of touched on a lot of these topics, but the one thing I wanted to visit with you about, given your success and longevity here, first of all is what's it like doing business in Clay Center in downtown? How is it? How has it changed? How's it getting better in your eyes? And where do you see it going?
There's been a lot of change. We don't have as many retail storefronts as we used to, but the storefronts that we have are very strong. So that is one change that I've seen. At one time we had 3 shoe stores. At one time, you have different 3 or 4 dress shops or whatever the case may be. That has been pared down naturally. That's just what happens in small communities today, especially with the big regional shopping centers, and now even more so with the online. We don't see the online hitting the small stores like we do the big stores. You know, we're losing our Shopco in Clay Center. There's different places that are closing, but you know, those are the bigger stores that compete directly with the discount online retailers. That's a tough thing to handle.
Yes.
We don't do that as much in the small mom and pop shops or the small retail shops. So yes, we're less in number, but we're stronger in strength. I think we've all grown a lot. Where you used to be small, you've grown a little bit bigger. You've added different types of inventory. You've added different markets that you have to target in order to keep the people here. So yeah, it is good. The direction we're going, I think, is fantastic. Clay Center has a lot going on right now. A lot, as we talked about that earlier before we went on camera. You know, you hear people talk about high sales taxes and things like that, but we did sales taxes in Clay Center for a new pool. That aquatic center is amazing out there. Brings people to town all summer long, which is wonderful. Our new hospital addition, that has been wonderful. Our streets, all of these things that sometimes people cringe a little bit about, that does nothing but make your community and your downtown stronger. And so we just try to keep doing that downtown, making things stronger for the people that do come in. So lots of great things.
So do you think there's, you're talking about, you know, there's not as many vibrant storefronts as there used to be. Do you think that those naturally born entrepreneurs are fewer in number, or are they going in different directions? Or are there new barriers to somebody starting a business? I mean, if you were to start this business today, what do you think your prospects would be relative to those?
It's difficult, and there's a lot of things. There's barriers. There's a lot of different things involved today, and I always hate to bring this up because it's a topic that I don't like to talk about. But money is an issue. You know, back when I started, and I'm proud to say this, I had $2,000 to our name. We started with $2,000, and this is what we built. Difficult road, absolutely a difficult road, but we reinvested everything that we had into our business to help make it grow. Today, if you have a young entrepreneur that wants to open up a store like this, $2,000 isn't going to cut it. You know, it's a harder scenario for kids today unless you have family in a business or you're taking over a business that was owned by mom and dad, grandpa and grandma, etc. Yeah, there are a few barriers. There are. And again, the online thing does, you know, the young people are big into that. So they think about that before they start a business. You know, do I really want to do this, or is everybody going to shop online? So I think we'll overcome those. I really do. I think I see a turnaround, and I think maybe you do too. I'm old enough that I've seen, you know, the cycles and everything going around, and I do feel like I see that coming back around, that people are looking for that small hometown personal service, personal stores. So I do see that happening.
And you kind of went around this other topic that I'm going to bring up, but last night we were at a meeting and talking about the development of a historic district in downtown Clay Center, and the prospects seem to be fairly good at this point. It seems to be fairly positive, but how do you see that being a catalyst for new investment with the historic tax credits? Is there some pent up interest that might be brought loose if that happens?
I absolutely do.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of those of us that have been in business a while that might be able to help with things. There's people out there that do want to be investors, that do want to help the community, and when you're putting that type of tax credit or even possible grant funding in front of them, that will help. A new roof is expensive. You buy a building, you need a $35,000 new roof, that's tough.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about tax credits and things like that in a historic district, that takes a little bit of the pain away. So there's a lot of, I thought the meeting was fantastic. I think the information was great. And yes, I do think that we could see some real benefits from this.
Yeah, and it was, I think when I entered the building, it was probably 3 degrees outside, and we probably had 40 people there. So it was a very good turnout, and of course the State Historic Preservation Office and Katrina Ringler always do a great job. Dale Nims does a great job. So
great presentation.
Yeah, and I think people got their questions answered relatively well, and I came out of that with a very positive vibe for Clay Centers downtown.
I did too, and to get 40 people in a meeting that they didn't have to go to is amazing.
Right,
and I think, you know, when you're asking me, do I think that that's something that is a catalyst for improvement? Yes, I do. I think we will improve. I think we will get new reinvestment into Clay Center because of that. So I'm anxious to see where it all goes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Ginger, I want to thank you for your time today on your busy day. And
it's just how, we just took time out to do it. We're glad we are busy.
Yeah,
so
she just came back from market, and so she's got some new stuff going to be coming in the store here in several months. Exciting. Actually, it's interesting how that cycle works.
Yeah, there's a big cycle to that.
Yes,
so,
there is.
Yeah,
yes,
we're excited.
Yes, well, and
thank you for having
me. I just applaud the CCBA and your efforts, and all the members of that organization. You can
they work
really
hard.
See it. Yeah.
They all work hard at what they do, and without them, we couldn't do it. So they're a vital part, and I'm happy to be a part of that and a representative of that.
Yep, well, very good. Thank you. Well, you at home, I hope you enjoyed this show. This was Eagle Means Business. I'm James Holland with Eagle Marketing Solutions, and at Eagle Marketing Solutions, we're your partner for television and digital advertising. We try to put you in front of customers so they will put themselves in front of your cash register. So until next time, I'm James Holland. We'll see you later.